Kibble versus raw. On today's video I'm going to be telling you the difference between the kibble diet and the raw diet when I tried them both out with Tux, and why I personally prefer to feed him a raw diet. And let's get straight into it. First of all, I just want to point out that I'm not a nutritionist. I don't know exactly what ingredients are in each diet and which one's more beneficial for him, but I'm just using common sense, and to be honest with you, I know which one Tux prefers. When Tux first arrived here, I had him on a kibble diet. To be honest with you, I didn't even know much about raw diets. I didn't even look into it. I didn't know what to feed him. To be honest with you, I was just keeping it easy for myself, so I was just nipping into a local supermarket or to a pet store and getting him a bag of dry food, kibble food, shall I say. What I noticed is when I had him on his kibble diet in the first couple of weeks when he was in the flat, he wasn't finishing his entire food. He'd have just about enough to suffice and he'd drink plenty of water, but he wasn't eating enough. And personally, I realised that he wasn't enjoying it. So I tried 3 different types of products and still it was the same. So when I switched over to our raw diet, he was eating his entire food to the last crumb and he loved it. And to be honest with you, think about it. What would you rather be eating? A steak or chicken wings and chips or something that's off real food? Or would you rather sit there eating biscuits all day? Let me show you with an example of which one Tux prefers. So here in this video, I'm going to be putting a bowl of kibble food in front of him and putting the raw food behind him. And as you see in this video, the raw food is still a frozen block. I didn't even warm it up or defrost it. And if I did, he'd be getting a lot more smell coming out of it, so we'd obviously pick that one. But watch this video. Here's a bowl of kibble food. And there's his raw meal. And bear in mind, this is still a frozen block. I've not even warmed it up. So imagine I did warm it up and he could smell it even more. Now watch this. Tux, sit. Leave it. Ready? Go. You see that? He sniffed the kibble and he walked straight past it to his raw food, and now he's looking at me for permission to eat it. Go. Good boy. So we know which one he prefers. I've literally just pulled that block out of the ice, so it's completely frozen. He'll work at this for about 5 minutes and he'll be through. So the place where I get the raw food from, they said it's perfectly fine to give it him as a frozen block because it'll be good for his teeth and it mentally stimulates him, so obviously he feels like he's working at something. And on the bright side, it gives me a little bit of free time without him. I can go and brush my teeth and get ready. Good boy, Tux. Go. So now that you've watched that video, tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. Clearly, he prefers the raw diet, right? Anyways, my point is, personally, I chose to keep Tux on a raw diet because I believe that it's going to make him a bit more muscular. It's going to give him all the nutrients he needs. I'm going to show you what it says on the packets, and I'll show you a couple of the flavours that I've been getting him. And as you can see from the packets, it clearly demonstrates that it's got the right nutrients that he needs. Just bear in mind, when I first switched him over to a raw diet, he wasn't drinking as much water. To be fair, I spoke to the people who provide the food and they told me that I don't need to worry about it too much because the blocks themselves have a lot of moisture in them, which is a substitute for the water. Regardless, I still wanted him to drink water, so if I've obviously been out on a long walk with him or done something physically active, making him run, climb hills, or gone on a light jog whilst I'm on a pedal bike, or making him do some sort of training, or it's really hot outside, then of course I want him to drink water. Anyways, getting back to the raw diet, like I said, when I first switched over, I was still trying to get the right balance. So I've been told that you can't just stick to one flavour. Personally, I would have just stuck to the chicken mince. It would have been an easy option for me and it's easy for him to digest. Now, I'm going to go back from the beginning. When I first switched over to the raw diet, of course, he had a little bit of diarrhea because his stomach acids had to readjust and get used to the raw food instead of the kibble diet. Now, that goes for any dog. If you're going to be keeping them, if they're on a kibble diet or if they're on a raw diet and you switch over, then their stomach acids need to get used to it. So they might have a little bit of a sloppy poo or a bit of a upset stomach for the first first one or two occasions, but then they'll get used to it. So Tux had that issue and he had to get used to it, of course. But once he did, everything else has been, well, I can't say everything else has been on track. For the first month or two, I was kind of like this. I was up and down, I was still learning. So at first, what they recommend is you start off with something light, like a chicken mince. So I started him off with the chicken mince flavour so his stomach can get used to it. Then I changed it over to a beef diet, and then I forgot what I changed over. I think the third one was I was trying to feed him something with fish, and that's when I learned that Tux is not allergic, but he's very, very sensitive to like any sort of fish diet. So when I was giving him like chicken with fish oil, he was having runny poos, and it was disgraceful to the point where you couldn't even pick it up. So you have to bear in mind that some dogs' stomach is sensitive to the fish oil or whatever. There might be something specific that they're sensitive to. So if you do switch over to a raw diet, like I personally did, find out what they're sensitive to, find out if they've got any allergies or anything, and then take it easy. What I did, because obviously Tux still needs his own omega-3 and the rest of it, instead of getting him fish food, anything to do with fish, because I tried the fish slats as well and that didn't work, so then they recommended using a bit of salmon oil. So now, every few days, I drop a bit of salmon oil into his food, so at least he's getting his omega-3. Also, I've mixed up his flavours now, so I'm giving him a variety of flavours so he's not getting bored. And they've also mentioned that you can't stick to one meat. Apparently, I think there's 5 different sources of meat: red meat, white meat, and I don't know the others personally, but I'm just going off what they tell me at the raw diet shop. So just bear in mind, if you're going to be feeding him raw food, don't stick to one flavour or one meat. You have to give him a variety and you have to give him the right sources. If you look at my dog, I'll show you some video footages or some images now, and you can see his coat is extremely shiny. He's very clean. Of course I keep him clean. I'll make a separate video on that, and how I keep my dog clean and how I'm trying to keep him looking fresh and the rest of it, and a separate video. But as you can see, the diet is one thing that does contribute to his coat looking clean, his coat looking healthy, the dog being healthy in general. So the diet is something you have to bear in mind. So as you can see, my dog is doing extremely well and I'm very impressed with him. Also, Tux loves his diet. Apparently, after the dogs turn 6 months, it's recommended that you feed them twice a day, whether it's once in the morning, once in the evening, but as long as they're getting the right sort of calorie intake, 2 meals a day is fine. But personally, I don't really want to do that. And there's a lot of people in the Facebook group that I'm joined to, like there's thousands of people in there, but a lot of them have also said that they still continue to feed their dog 3 meals a day, and some even do 4 meals a day. Now, what I choose to do, I tend to give him 3 meals a day. So he's getting his right sort of nutrients, he's getting all the calories he needs. But what I'm doing is I'm breaking it down. So I'm giving him a meal in the morning, I'm giving him a meal in the afternoon, I'm giving him a meal at night. Tux is used to that. He knows now the timings of when I'm going to feed him. Furthermore, it just breaks it down a little bit. So obviously if he's been out training and stuff, I don't want to come home and just let him just starve and then wait until the end of the night. He's not fasting, do you understand? So I do try to be a little bit fair and reasonable with him, because think about it. What would you do if you've been out all day? Do you want to just have 2 meals a day and have the right sort of intake, or would you rather have 3 meals a day? So it's not fair. So personally, I choose to give him 3 meals a day. I'm just giving him 3 blocks. But yeah. Also, I forgot to mention, guys, that ever since I got him on a raw diet, his poo has completely changed. And if you get the right balance, there's a certain colour to look out for. I'll try and find the chart on my phone of which colour it's supposed to be, but it explains when he's got too much bone, when he's got too much of this, he's got too much of that. But ever since I've got him on the right balance and he's on the right diet, he's on the raw diet but with the right balance, his poo's always hard now, so it's a lot easier to pick up. It's not stinking extremely bad. Of course, it does still smell a little tiny bit, but it's not extremely bad. Like when he was on a Kibble diet, it absolutely stunk. But it doesn't stink that bad now. It's much more easier to clean up. So yeah, I think that's one of the greatest advantages of being on a raw diet, because his body, it absorbs all the nutrients as much as possible and just literally gets rid of the tiniest of bits of waste that is left. I also wanted to drop in as well that occasionally I do give him a bone here and there, because obviously when I first got him I was brushing his teeth and it was a lot of effort trying to keep him in one place and trying to make him stay in one position. But when I give him a bone, it fully cleans his teeth, and I'll try and show you a clip of how clean his teeth are looking. His teeth are whiter than mine, for God's sake. So I give him a bone occasionally, or chicken wings or duck wings or something, but I don't give him too much, because when I do, his poo starts to get crumbly. So it'll still be hard, but it's extremely crumbly, and it's a bit annoying picking up little crumbs, especially if you're outside and you're walking him and you're on the roadside or it's in front of somebody's garden. You understand? So I don't give him too much bones. It's just every few days I might give him a bone to play with because it keeps him mentally stimulated, and it just also cleans his teeth and stuff. So yeah, thought I'd drop that in. Anyways, I hope you guys have found this video helpful. As always, you know what to do. Subscribe to my channel, leave a thumbs up. If you've got any suggestions or recommendations, please leave them in the comments down below, and I would really appreciate the support. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, peace out.